Live invite you to join us now for a preview of this week's Prattville Lions football game. It's the Coach J.B. Wallace Show, coming to you live from Rock's Famous Barbecue in Prattville. Tonight's show is powered by Larry Puckett Chevrolet, by Durbin Auto Parts, Prattville Outdoors, Aero Pest Control, and by Buffalo Rock Pepsi. Now, let's go live to Rock's Famous Barbecue for tonight's Coach J.B. Wallace Show.
Well, welcome in Prattville Lions Nation to the Coach J.B. Wallace Show. We're coming to you live tonight from Rock's Famous Barbecue at 307 South Memorial Drive in Prattville. I'm your host, Chris Britton. Let me invite you, if you're out and about, we'd love for you to come hang out. We've already got a few Lions fans, some of the Pride here in the restaurant with us, ordering dinner as we speak. It smells fantastic as always, so we invite you to come on out. Well, the man the show's named after, Coach J.B. Wallace. How are you doing this evening, sir?
Doing great. How are you doing?
Doing good. I don't want to waste any time. I want to jump right in. Coach, there was a pretty decent victory last Friday night. Let's talk about that a little bit, please.
Yeah, we had a ranked number 3 team come in, big region game, and they were ranked in the state, and it was a huge rival for our program. And, we ended up winning in overtime. We got in a 14-0 hole to start us out, and, we answered back with a kickoff return from a guy that you're going to see here in a little while.
Sure.
And, we battled back. He struck again on a deep ball. That got us tied up in the halftime. And we came back in the second half and regathered some things, and then it happened again.
Yeah.
And, had some changes on offense this week. We did a few things that were a little different. The biggest thing that I saw overall was just the way our offensive line is beginning to have a lot of poise.
I mean, they're taking steps forward every week.
Yes, sir.
You can see it.
Yes, sir. And as long as we continue to grow, we're going to be fine. We're growing at that position. And they were determined to take our run game away. And hats off to Opelika for that. I mean, they put hats in the box and said, you're not going to run the ball. And they tried to deny Donovan and Mario, anything we had up front. And when we had to open it up by putting it in the air, so we're able to do so. Defensively, we played a huge game. Sam Payne, which is not a he's been on the show before as well. 21 tackles from him. It was
quite
huge
an effort.
Performance. Yeah, huge performance by him. Defense as a whole, huge performance. Big defensive stop in overtime to help us come back to kick the game, win a field goal to win the game.
And how, not to interrupt you, but how long is that field in overtime, by the way? How much?
Say that again.
How far do they have to go when overtime starts? Where do they get the ball at?
It's 10 yards. You got.
So they held from the 10 is what I'm getting at. They held
from the 10. You get 4 downs to score from the 10, and they elected to go for it on 4th down. And Sam Payne comes up with the big tackle in the backfield, tackle for loss. And we put our offense on the field. We very conservative, and then we went out with Reed Montgomery, and he sealed the deal with the game. Which, ironically, and I spoke to the guys today, that same scenario is how we end practice every Thursday.
How about that?
Same scenario. So and we've been doing it, for since I've been here, and probably before I got out here. So it was not uncommon, for that scenario to take place. So he answered the call and got it done.
They were ready to go, knew what they were doing. One of the things, it was a little bit different. Quarterback, just been trying to find that guy, and somebody out kind of from the behind the curtain stepped out last week. I don't know if you want to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, we did have a new quarterback come in this week, Cam Richardson, who has been playing.
No stranger.
He's been playing receiver, making plays for us at receiver. Played receiver for us. We moved him towards the end of last year. And he's been a team player, and he's done what he had to do. He's worked hard in the offseason at being a better receiver.
Matured a ton.
Yeah, matured a ton. I mean, yeah, definitely that. Yeah. And I've been proud of all the steps that he's taken forward. I mean, he's definitely a team player. He's definitely a leader. And, we gave him an opportunity to try to, get a spark on offense, be able to get the ball downfield a little bit more. And he stepped up, to the plate, and he got it done. Had a huge night. Had I think 160-some-odd yards or so passing. 2 passing touchdowns, showed a lot of patience in the pocket. Took a couple shots. He stepped up, delivered, threw a lot of good balls Friday night. So he definitely rose to the occasion.
Share some more with us about the offensive side of the ball. Now, leave the guy we're going to talk about out later. We'll keep some anonymity about him. But who else really showed up for you on the offensive side of the ball? And you mentioned the running backs, too, already a little bit.
Right. And like I said, they held Mario to little under 50 yards, just loading the box and daring us to throw the ball.
Right.
And we talked about the offensive line and their role in the pass protection. But definitely KJ Blue made a huge catch on a corner ball that was perfectly placed. And he made a huge catch and a little run after the catch there. And he may have had another catch as well. Also, Calvin Parker.
Yeah.
We're trying to save some clock to be able to kick a field goal to win it before overtime, and he made a heads-up play. We threw the ball to him, and he had the awareness enough to catch the ball and get the first down to step out of bounds to start us over with a new set of downs and to stop the clock. So that was a heads-up play by him.
Sure.
So, getting him involved and things like that in the next few weeks is going to be crucial as well.
Other side of the ball, obviously you mentioned Sam already. Who else really stood out and had great performances last Friday evening?
Well, we have two Carmelos that did very well,
right.
Carmelo Smith and Carmelo Jones. Both of them played huge games. Also, Tice Cotry,
he's always there.
Being a man of many jobs. He plays a lot of positions for us. We kind of put him in situations where we can take advantage of things, and he played extremely well. Our secondary with Zay Parrish, Tyrell Cowling, and George came in and played well. Jalen McClaney played well. Brian Braggs, who hadn't been new on the scene, but he's been new this year as safety. He's done well playing the secondary. And Caleb Bruce at corner. All those guys played extremely well, and it's kind of been by committee because they all play a huge role in it.
Certainly.
Wendeldrick on the D-line, Wendeldrick Rollinson, Whit Rollinson, who has been playing. We have some packages with him on D-line, and he also plays linebacker. All those guys have been getting after it and playing extremely well.
A big game, and like you said, number 3 team in the state, and they went home with their first loss of the season. I know there's a pride factor to that. I know for you, for the guys, but at the same time, I know you well enough. I'm guessing you probably celebrated till about midnight Saturday morning and is back to work. We're getting ready for next week.
That's about how it went, making the corrections and things like that. Regardless how big the win is, there are always things you can fix. So it was a good feeling. It was a good feeling to see your team celebrate after working so hard and they finally getting what they worked for in that moment. So and just like everybody else, we told we're going to celebrate. And I said, hey, even enjoy it tomorrow. But Sunday, we got a big one rolling in.
That's right. We'll talk about that later on in the show. How about special teams? Obviously, you referred to the kick that Cam took back. Special teams, who really stood out there for you as well?
Well, I tell you, we gave out on Mondays, we give out decals to guys that made plays on special teams and do things kind of, going above and beyond to make stuff happen. Some of the guys that you may not hear about, but they make plays on special teams. They make special teams special. George Thomas is a guy that we gave decals to. Carmelo Jones, we gave decals to him as well. I think George and Calvin Parker on Cam Shanks' touchdown return, man, they double-teamed the guy, and they really took him out of the view of the camera. So that was crucial in springing him to get that touchdown.
I'm watching it down from close to the field, but it was like what you see. It had to have been textbook. I mean, he kind of took his time up in there, let everything set up, and then gone.
That's exactly what happened. Yeah, he definitely let it set up, and we had the right guys in place, and we had guys doing their jobs.
Right.
And special teams is third of the game. Say it all the time. It's third of the game, so it's important. I want to mention Turner Walker for flipping the field on punting. Yeah, definitely gave our defense some life there flipping the field. We were in a little rut for a minute where we were dealt the short side of the field defensively, and Turner, when we punted one opportunity, he flipped the field for us, which was huge.
That's big time. So, obviously, big ball game, a lot of fun, a lot of celebration. But like you said, right back to work right after that. I know, obviously we had Coach Moncrief on the show with us last week. That had to throw that was something new for him. I mean, switching up quarterbacks, that had to pose a little bit of a challenge, I guess you would say, to your offensive coordinator.
Yeah, well, we were at practice and we were going through our usual script, and we'd already built in a small package for Cam Rich that we've already done a special package, and he's been doing things to kind of catch our attention. So we just kind of put him out there, and things just took off from there. And we've just met, and we decided to give him a bigger role But yeah, it definitely lifted weight because just being able to operate your offense and do all the things you want to do offensively.
Right.
Be it spread the field, establish your run game and all that. A guy like Cam Richardson that can run it and throw it. It definitely gives you a lot of flexibility there.
No doubt. And it's another wrinkle that the other team has to think about.
Correct.
So that's a problem. And you want to create as many problems as you can.
Right. That's right.
Well, that's fantastic. Well, Coach, we'll come back to that game just a little bit later on in the show and talk some more about it. But right now, we're just about ready to go to a break. We want to thank those of you who are listening to us on the radio at Dixie Country 100.1. Thanks for tuning in. Also, those of you who are watching us on Facebook, the Prattville Live Network, or also on YouTube, thanks for being a part of the show or even watching it later on. We've got plenty more show to come, folks. If you're out and about, we challenge you to come, invite you to come join us here at Rock's Famous Barbecue at 307 South Memorial Drive. You're listening to the Coach J.B. Wallace Show. We'll be right back after this break.
Do your ribs rock? Like slap your daddy rock? Rock's Famous Barbecue across from Baptist Hospital on South Memorial Drive in Prattville has the most amazing barbecue in the region. And the service is almost as good as the amazing food. Check out the menu online at rocksfamousbbq.com. Phone 224-8903 for takeout or dine in, Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. If your barbecue pork and chicken ain't rocking, you ain't been to Rock's Famous Barbecue, South Memorial Drive, Prattville.
For well over 50 years, the river region has depended on Aero Pest Control, which has grown to be one of the largest and most respected pest control science leaders in the area. Pest control is a science that eliminates pests that invade and potentially damage your property. They use only the top-rated pest control products, including the Centricon Termite Colony Elimination System. Aero Pest Control was built on customer service and satisfaction, and that's still number one today. Call us, 334-365-4610, and find out about mosquito control. Aero, your best shot for pest control.
Before you buy your next new vehicle, visit LarryPuckettChevrolet.com.
For the best prices on pre-owned vehicles, visit LarryPuckettChevrolet.com.
I'm Brad at Larry Puckett Chevrolet. To find your next car, truck, or SUV, visit us at LarryPuckettChevrolet.com.
For the best prices and huge inventory, visit LarryPuckettChevrolet.com.
Be sure to like our Larry Puckett Chevrolet Facebook page. Who knows, you could be our next winner.
Save time and save money at LarryPuckettChevrolet.com.
Give me some U.S. farm-raised catfish. Give me some U.S. farm-raised catfish.
I only use U.S. farm-raised catfish.
We've been selling U.S. farm-raised catfish since 1978.
They do have a choice for a good, wholesome, safe fish. We know it's a good product.
Ask for U.S. farm-raised catfish, only the finest, freshest, tastiest. You can taste the difference.
From our farm to your table, your family deserves the best. U.S. farm-raised catfish.
What's up, Lion Nation? Welcome back to the Coach J.B. Wallace Show. I'm your host, Chris Britton. We thank you for tuning in tonight, listening on the radio, watching us online. Thanks for being a part of the show this evening. You are what makes this whole thing go. We're so appreciative of you fans being a part. I also want to thank our sponsors, Larry Puckett Chevrolet, Aero Pest Control, Durbin Auto Parts, Prattville Outdoors, Pepsi, Buffalo Rock, all those folks who help power the Prattville Lion program. Coach, in the first segment tonight, we talked about last week's ball game, and it was a big one. That was one of those games where you've got a really good team coming into town, kind of fresh to 7A, and they were one of the top-ranked teams in the state. I know where our guys were. I think mentally, lost a couple of games. They felt like we really, I'm not going to say should have won, but could have won, had a good shot to win. Man, we need something here, and, buddy, they showed out. Talk a little bit more about last week and just what that meant.
Yeah, absolutely. Had 2 rough weeks prior to that.
Sure.
And, and that was one that, for our goals to still fall in place that we've set in the offseason, that's one that we had to win. That's
right.
A region game, and one of the upper echelon teams in our region,
right.
That they're one of the better teams. And so that's one that we definitely want to go out and win and show how we can compete,
right.
With that type of talent on the field. But with that, it's always got to be on to the next.
Right.
And it's the mindset of how do you prepare after you have a big win like that.
Yeah.
It's a two-headed sword, because if you don't get the results that you want on a Friday night, then how do you approach the week after you didn't get those results?
Right.
And so, this one is kind of the opposite, having to approach the week of preparation. After you got that big win, they were on an emotional high on Friday, and they,
right.
Are excited. Well, now Monday is a work day. And not to mention, which we'll talk about later, we had a JV game on Monday, so
okay.
and it was away in Opelika. So, we kind of had to alter our normal practice plans a little bit to get those guys an opportunity to go play and get more reps.
Yeah.
And, but just preparing for a game after that, you have to go back to how you built it. What's your, go back to where you started from. And that's kind of what Monday was. We went back and reviewed the game, of course, but then we went back to the basics and, ball security and just our bread and butter plays, our foundation. That was kind of the mindset. And, we had another factor this week. We had a little bit more heat than we've had, for the last week or so. So, you get a week where the weather's cooler a little bit, it'll trick your body.
Yeah.
So we always talk about the things it takes to make sure your body's ready to perform, hydrating, putting the proper things in your body. So we had to go back. It's kind of like a August mentality, the first week of August mentality. When you're back to the basics, let's reground yourself and let's get back to the basics.
Yeah, and it's interesting you say that because let's remember these are teenagers, right? These are 15, 16, 17-year-old young men who. I'm guessing in their minds there's a little bit, hey, if that's the number 3 team in the state, well, we must be number 2, right?
They may think that.
And you got to remind them, whoa, fellas, it's like you said, we got to come back to the basics.
Right.
So, and of course, we'll talk about more later in the show, but, man, this is a big rivalry that we have coming up this Friday. So it's got to be something you can use to grab their attention and focus it back forward.
Right. It's definitely a huge rivalry. Probably bigger, if it's not big, it's just as big as last week, but Stanhope and Prattville, that's been a rivalry for as long as I can remember.
Right.
And these guys know each other on both teams.
Sure.
A lot of them are family.
Yeah.
So it's a lot riding on it.
That's right.
They kind of say bragging rights riding on it.
I've already seen a little bit of talk on Facebook and things like that, and that's just part of the fun about it.
I imagine so, and it probably won't stop today either. It'll probably carry on. So
no
definitely want to go out and perform and get it done versus Stanhope.
Sure, at their place too, and we'll talk about that more later on, of course, as we wrap up the show later on tonight. Coach, we're getting close to the middle of the season. I mean, we're not right there, but so far, what are your thoughts regarding the team, where we're at, how they're improving? I know that 1% a day improvement. Right. Are you seeing that kind of thing? Well,
when you get to this point of the season now is when you start seeing, if your total program is paying dividends.
Sure.
We talk about how we work out each week and how we perform during the season. We don't believe in maintaining strength. You're either going to get stronger, you're going to get weaker. You're either going to get faster, you're going to get slower. So
I like it.
Our off-season program and our in-season program kind of ties in with each other. And, we're to the point now where teams are settling into that football mode. And some of the teams that may, in my opinion, may opt to maintain. Now it's when you start seeing the change of the body where they may lose a little weight, lose a little strength and things like that. And we want to continue to up those numbers. And we want to be smart in how we do it, and we are smart in how we do it and being efficient. But, the injuries, when you prepare yourself in the weight room in season, you want to cut back on the injuries. You want to do things that can help you with flexibility and all that kind of stuff, different lifts like that. So I like where we are right now from what I see. Each day when we're in the weight room, we got guys, just moving their old numbers. I mean, like taking their numbers and it's looking like warm-up weight. So
that's awesome.
That's showing that we're gaining strength and we're getting stronger.
And talk about our strength program, the guy that runs that. Talk about him a little bit.
Coach Morris. Yeah. Coach Morris, our strength and conditioning coach, does an extremely excellent job.
And he doesn't just work with football, by the way. I don't know if people realize that, but he sets up plans for other teams too. That's a big deal.
He helps out pretty much with a lot of athletes in the school, most of them. And I know for us, I mean, he's organized. He's going to be full of energy, and he has a plan to get to where we're trying to go. And that's the first thing he asked me when we were planning for the in-season workout. Coach, what's your goals? What do you want us to do? And we kind of work from there on our way back. We don't start from the beginning. What do you want to, what do we want to get to? And I say, listen, we're not maintaining. We're not going to just be in there wasting time. I want to make sure we maintain flexibility. I want to make sure we're stronger. I want to make sure our guys are fresh and ready to play on Friday. And then he started building the plan as such. So he does a real good job with it. Guys love him to death. They get motivated when he comes around.
That's cool. Fantastic. Yeah. And you've kind of alluded to it and touched on it a little bit, but, again, approaching the middle of the season, you start seeing guys get dinged up a little bit and having some health-wise. How are we doing? How are you guys doing?
We're good. We have the typical nicks and bruises that you have, a hand here, finger.
Right.
But so far we've kind of avoided any major losses of any athletes, and that goes back to the strength and conditioning program, in my opinion. is how you build it, and not just August, but when you take it back into last January and things like that, is all that plays a role.
Certainly. Now, we've got a couple more minutes left in this segment. You had just mentioned JV earlier in the week. Talk to us a little bit about that game and how that went.
Yeah, well, JV played Monday versus Opelika. Fell short versus Opelika was 14-0. But I really think, second half, we really started figuring it out as a team. We just had a few tough breaks in there. When we got in the red zone, we got to score. Guys got to show up, and that's what that game's about. Getting those guys those opportunities. If they don't get it then they may never get it. So that's what it's all about, getting it then. And if you fell short that time, then you get another opportunity to learn from it and get better.
That's right.
And it also teaches your guys how to travel.
Right.
You got to go play on the road. We had to go to Opelika, a little over an hour away, so we had to go and learn how to play on a away game after they just finished practice.
Right.
With the varsity. So. That was a great experience. I know freshman-wise, we won versus Phoenix City.
Okay.
That was a big win. They had to come back to win, so they're rolling right now. I think they're 3-0 or 4-0 right now.
That was a big comeback. Didn't I read something about that? They were down a couple of touchdowns and just ran right back by them.
They ran back and held it. So great job there with those guys. Performing all year. Coach McClain. He does an extremely good job with those guys, coaching them up, getting them ready to go.
Yeah, and I love what you're talking about, the opportunity to learn from all. They're learning how to travel. They're learning how to – you're catching some guys who are going to be part of the money team. You're seeing guys who might even – hey, we might have some reps for them on the varsity later on this year maybe.
And we're starting to see that. We're starting to see some of the guys that, we knew we had to get them to a certain point. To get better, and now they're starting to show up. And then we had some guys that were, hey, he could be a varsity guy, but we got to get him, and we're starting to see that guy take that next step as well.
That's fantastic. Well, Coach, thank you for your time thus far. We're just barely getting started, fans, with the Coach J.B. Wallace Show. So if you're out and about, come see us at Rock's Famous Barbecue, 307 South Memorial. We got some beautiful ladies that have just come in, so I think we got some softball players who are going to hang out with us a little bit. Maybe their coach, Coach Pittman's going to be here. I don't know. He's late, so we'll just talk bad about him while he's not here yet. That's okay. We can do that. But come join us. The more the merrier. Thanks to those of you who are listening again on the radio. Also, those of you who are tuning in on the internet, thanks for being a part of the show. You're listening again to the Coach J.B. Wallace Show. We'll be right back after this break.
Durbin Auto Parts on South Memorial Drive is proud to be a supporter of Prattville Lions Athletics. As your locally owned CarQuest dealer, the Durbin family assures you that they'll get the right parts the first time. They also carry the full line of steel power equipment and die-hard batteries. When you do business with Durbin Auto Parts, your money stays in Prattville so they can support the local community and great programs like Prattville Lions Athletics. Durbin Auto Parts, 948 South Memorial Drive, Prattville.
Think local. Think of all the skill and talent found right here in our community. Hands that build, hands that feed, teach, protect, and hands that heal. Guardian Credit Union reaches out to people just like you. Handling loans for new cars, opening doors to new homes, saying yes to fun and adventure. When you need a strong, steady financial hand, think local. Think Guardian.
You fired up the grill for one hot dog? Seriously?
Hot dogs, better with Pepsi.
Hun, those ribs ready?
No. Ribs, better with Pepsi.
It's a long pass down the amazing aisles at Prattville Pickers. It's a great catch on thousands of incredible treasures. It's the biggest lineup of rustic wood furniture at the Depot Furniture Gallery. It's the national champion of antiques, collectibles, treasures. The Depot Furniture Gallery at Prattville Pickers. A winning combination for home, lifestyle, and recreation. Don't let the game clock run out before you make the winning catch at Prattville Pickers. Highway 82 West. Shop PrattvillePickers.com and Facebook.
Welcome back, Prattville Lions Nation, to the Coach J.B. Wallace Show. I'm your host, Chris Britton. We thank you so much for tuning in tonight. Those of you who are listening to us on Dixie Country 100.1, thanks for being a part of the show, and also everybody watching online on the interwebs. Coach, we have reached the part of the show where it's time to recognize this week's Pepsi Buffalo Rock Player of the Game, and this had to have been one of the toughest weeks you've had to pick somebody
Yeah.
because there were plenty of opportunities.
Oh yeah, it was definitely a tough week. We had several guys that that could have been the player of the week,
Sure.
the Pepsi Buffalo Rock player of the week. But of course, as you see, he's no stranger to the show. The Pepsi Buffalo Rock player of the week is Cameron Shanks. So he gets the award. He earned it this week.
Cam, congratulations, buddy. I'm going to hand you this plaque. Big-time performance from a big-time player. Also, the MVP treatment from Sports Clips and all that. And you can sit back on the table if you want to or hang on to it, whatever. Well, Cam, thanks for taking out time out of your schedule to be part of the show tonight. Man, walk us through last week's ball game. Man, you kind of had a little bit of a game, and you do every week. You show up and have big games every week, but this one was extra special. Talk to us a little bit about last week's game. Keep it up close there for you.
So
yeah, you sound great. You can't hear yourself, but you sound fine.
All right, the kickoff return.
Yeah.
I went to the whole kickoff return because I didn't get touched. It was all them.
All right.
Pass from Karen Rich, put on the money.
Had to put it where it had to be. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Big game. Now, is it true that I coached you up right before the kickoff return that helped you? No, I'm kidding. I made that totally up. How long was that kick return, by the way?
96.
I thought 95, 96. That's pretty. And it was so. From my vantage point, it was so fantastic. I was standing about the 25-yard line, and I watched you get to my left, and you kind of got up in the middle of everybody. And I looked at it, I was like, he's about to take this thing back. Sure enough, there you shot around to the side. Nobody touched you. And I couldn't see you when you got to the other end, but I watched the film later. They weren't gaining on you. You were leaving people. What do you think about that?
It starts in the offseason,
right.
Preparing for my 40.
Yeah.
My 40 time and doing ability drills and stuff like that.
That's awesome.
Yes, sir.
And then now you had 3 total touchdowns, right? So 2 receiving, 1 kick return a little bit.
Yes,
now, all right, the fellow who was throwing the ball to you, I mean, do you know him or was he like a stranger? I mean, how's that work?
I know him. We grew up together.
Right.
Since City League, he always been throwing the ball to me. So we
little chemistry already.
Yeah, we already got good chemistry.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So really, I mean, let's talk just for a second. I know you don't plan on stopping when you graduate as far as football goes. What's Cam Shanks looking at doing in the future?
Same thing.
Football-wise, yeah.
Doing the same thing I've been doing, to keep balling.
Yeah. And now, as far as I know, we're committed at Liberty still, or
Yeah,
okay,
sir.
okay. I don't want to start any like media question marks or anything like that, but I've been talking to Coach Stoops at Kentucky, telling me how to. I know I'm kidding. I'm just making that. I'm making that up totally. All right. So a lot of the ladies want to know: is Cam Shanks available, or is he currently tied down?
Complicated.
I think somebody's heart may have just gotten broken, and some may have just skipped a beat, thinking I got a chance. I don't know. Contract. I may have just created problems. I'm sorry if I did. Coach, with that, let me turn it over to you. Talk about Cam for a minute.
Well, yeah, I'm certain the views are going to pick up really now because he started something. But
look, it just shot up about. We went up to 100 something. No, I'm kidding.
Oh yeah. But man, yeah, he's definitely a young man that deserves the award that he got. He comes every day and he works hard.
Right.
He's a very coachable athlete. He's got a lot of athletic ability. Works hard in the weight room. And maybe shocking when you see him because he's not a 6'3", 6'4" young, but he's strong. He's extremely strong. Just as strong as those bigger receivers or stronger. So that's just one of the gifts that he has. But when the ball's in the air, just how he adjusts to the ball and his ability to do that, I mean, it's just amazing.
Yeah, and the word I think you used just a minute ago, coachable. I love that one, right? I mean, and what does that mean to you? Being the coach, having a guy that listens.
Well, and that's what we talk about all the time. You bring the attitude, the effort. We'll handle everything else, and he brings the right attitude. He brings the right effort. Being coachable and all that. If you tell him how you want it done, he's going to work on it. He's going to get it right. Usually he gets it right the first time.
Right.
He's just one of those guys that has that gift.
Yeah.
But he's also a leader.
Yeah.
I've seen him take more of a leadership role this year as well. Because I think it's really dawning on him, and he can probably speak on that this is his senior year. This is his last time around, and we have a chance to do something special.
Yeah.
And to see him step up into that role and kind of take over, that's as a coach, that's something I love to see.
Yeah. Talk a little bit about that, Cam. What leadership means to you and your role with the Prattville program as a leader?
It's important because I only got a couple more weeks. you only guaranteed 10 weeks to play football. So
right.
Last high school football, so it's really important to me to make sure that everybody doing right.
Yeah.
Doing the right thing in classrooms and stuff.
That's awesome. And, you know, I've gotten to know Cam for a long time because he and my son, shout out Miller, have been, you know, same age, same grade, friends for a long time. And we crossed paths a long time. So I've always loved you. I joke with your mom. I said I'd adopt you, but I couldn't afford to feed you. But anyway, it's been fun to watch you in other sports, too. I mean, you're not just a football player. You play basketball, too, do other things. You're kind of one of those naturals. Tell us a little bit about basketball this year. What's coming up? New coach.
Yeah, we're gonna be good in basketball.
Yeah.
Man. Might go all the way, just like in football.
You heard it here first. I'm not going to drop the mic because the Millser would get mad at us for dropping the mic, but I love it. All right, won't you switch seats with the guy beside you? While he's doing that, we're going to pause for a brief station identification. We'll be right back.
WDXX Selma Prattville, home of Larry Puckett Chevrolet. Prattville and Puckett, a winning combination.
How much longer? All right. Well, I'm joined by another fellow now, the wide receivers coach. You get to work with that fellow that just got out of that seat, Cam Shanks. Talk to us a little bit about him first, and then we're going to come back to the overall program.
Well, Cam, like we talked about, leadership.
Yeah.
He's definitely the leader of our receiver room. When Coach Moncrief and I came in last year, we really just wanted to establish the culture of the receiver group as physical dog mentality.
Right.
We want to have guys that are going to block before they get to rock. You know what I mean?
I love it.
And just show that they're team players first and not me guys. And Cam epitomizes that. I couldn't be more blessed to coach a kid who naturally everybody looks to him because of his athletic ability already makes him a leader. But then the way he carries himself, the way he works, the way he's coachable, all that just sets him above, and they all follow his lead. And so it's really picked up not just, his ability, but everybody around him's gotten better because of how he's coachable.
And I mean, you kind of named it. There's some weapons out there in the wide receiver stable there, and part of it is his leadership, but part of it's development. So talk to us a little bit about the overall position at Prattville High School this year, the receivers that which you are responsible over, of course.
Well, we've got a senior-heavy class this year. Had Cam Shanks, Cam Richardson's been playing it since last year, and he's really come along too. Calvin Parker's a returning senior. So those three guys have really kind of set the tone and the standard of how we do things in practice. It's all about accountability, but it's also all about fun and family.
Yeah.
We break it down on family every day. We're all there to play for each other. At the end of the day, there's only one ball, and we're running 4 routes on any given play. So you got to be team first.
Right.
So that's what we're all about, our DNA. And so that the young guys, like KJ Blue and Brody Bowman's really stepping up, Mayan Callan, Jack Studdard, all these guys see the senior leadership and kind of how we're establishing the culture of that room, and they just follow suit. And they'll be the next senior leaders.
They're the leaders of tomorrow.
So we're really just kind of building a culture that we want to have in this program, and it's great to see.
Well, speaking of this program, you're no stranger to Prattville. I think you might have worn the Cardinal and white back in the day. Talk a little bit about that, your experience as a Prattville Lion, not just as a coach.
Yep. I was fortunate enough to be on the three-peat team that won it 3 years in a row, and Coach Wallace was the linebackers coach then and my track coach. And so that's kind of how I got to know him. And when he came and got this job, he called me up, and he knew that I was one of those guys that he could trust and know how to help him build that culture and kind of set that standard of winning tradition of how we did things back in the heyday, so to speak. And it's a new generation now, so it's not that we're trying to redo anything. We're trying to do a new thing, but we know what it takes to win.
There you go.
And so that's just really what it's all about.
Yeah. Hey, Coach, tell us a little bit about Coach Foreman and what he means to the program means to you.
Well, just dedication. That's one of the things that I think about when I see him. He gives those guys, those receivers that he coaches, he gives them his all every day. I mean, he's out there running routes and demonstrating to them how it should be done. He's a great teacher. And that's something I can say about all the coaches. They say, you teach and you coach. Well, these guys teach all day long. They come out there, and he's one of the guys that do that. He's a teacher in leading meetings and things like that. But, just ultimately just a great person, a great football coach. The perfect guy that I could say that I want, as part of the staff to lead that group. He's grown them. They've grown together, and he's taken those guys and really led them to do the things they're doing now, and playing good football.
Awesome. Now, Coach, you're not just a football coach, as I understand was brought to mind. I didn't realize this, but you've got some military service under your belt as well. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, sir. I did 4 years in the Coast Guard,
Okay.
2012 to 2016. My playing career got cut short in college because of some injuries, so
Sure.
I went in the military and fortunate enough to serve. And, you know, when you're a football player, especially coming up through Prattville, military is a natural fit because you already have the discipline, you
Sure.
already have the work ethic, and kind of that determination to see things through. And so that was a good fit for me, and it also prepared me then for getting back into coaching. I mean, it all ties together. So
That's awesome.
I was fortunate to do that.
Fantastic. Well, thank you for your service. Well, fans, we're going to thank you so much, DJ, for your time tonight. Coach, thanks for sharing him with us this evening when he might could be out there working with players, but you brought him in here. We thank you for that.
Yes, sir.
Well, fans, we're going to go to a break in just a moment. We want to thank those of you who are listening to us on Dixie Country 100.1. Thanks for being a part of the show. Also, those of you who are watching online through Prattville Alive, on Facebook or through YouTube, thanks for tuning in tonight or later on in the week. We love when you guys check in, leave us comments, that kind of thing. So thanks for being a part of the show. We got a treat for you when we come back. We're going to take a break. There'll be more JB Wallace Show right after this.
Do your ribs rock? Like slap your daddy rock? Rock's Famous Barbecue across from Baptist Hospital on South Memorial Drive in Prattville has the most amazing barbecue in the region. And the service is almost as good as the amazing food. Check out the menu online at rocksfamousbbq.com. Phone 224-8903 for takeout or dine in. Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. If your barbecue pork and chicken ain't rocking, you ain't been to Rock's Famous Barbecue, South Memorial Drive, Prattville.
For well over 50 years, the River region has depended on Aero Pest Control, which has grown to be one of the largest and most respected pest control science leaders in the area. Pest control is a science that eliminates pests that invade and potentially damage your property. They use only the top-rated pest control products, including the Centricon termite colony elimination system. Aero Pest Control was built on customer service and satisfaction, and that's still #1 today. Call us 334-365-4610 and find out about mosquito control. Aero, your best shot for pest control.
Before you buy your next new vehicle, visit LarryPuckettChevrolet.com.
For the best prices on pre-owned vehicles, visit LarryPuckettChevrolet.com.
I'm Brad at Larry Puckett Chevrolet. To find your next car, truck, or SUV, visit us at LarryPuckettChevrolet.com.
For the best prices and huge inventory, visit LarryPuckettChevrolet.com.
Be sure to like our Larry Puckett Chevrolet Facebook page. Who knows, you could be our next winner.
Save time and save money at LarryPuckettChevrolet.com.
Give me some U.S. farm-raised catfish. Give me some U.S. farm-raised catfish.
I only use U.S. farm-raised catfish.
We've been selling U.S. farm-raised catfish since 1978.
You do have a choice for a good, wholesome, safe fish. We know it's a good product.
Ask for U.S. farm-raised catfish, only the finest, freshest, tastiest. You can taste the difference.
From our farm to your table, your family deserves the best. U.S. farm-raised catfish.
All right, Prattville Lions Nation.
All right,
welcome
Prattville Lions Nation. Welcome back to the JB Wallace Show.
I'm telling you what, the Lion fan base here tonight
is growing. Yes, sir. Absolutely.